Hi, my name is Sheila Hill. I'm an intuitive life coach and a spiritual guide. I wanted to talk to you today about childhood trauma and the ego that is created by the child who has experienced the trauma. So, those that have had childhood traumatic experiences have a very, very strong ego. The ego that needs to be dissolved and brought back into alignment with the true self. The work can be very, very difficult. Not impossible, but it can be difficult, and this is why. First, let's understand that when I say trauma, I do mean the traditional sense of what trauma is and understood as adults, but I also am referring to any experience that was experienced by the child through the lens of the child that would lead the child to believe that love, safety, and validation were conditional in any way whatsoever. So we're not talking about judging the parents for anything they did or didn't do, because this is through the lens of the child itself. Your inner child is only ever looking for your love, your acceptance, your safety. There need not be ever any retribution made whatsoever from your parents, regardless of what type of parent they were. So, the ego that is then created by a child who feels conditionally loved and conditionally safe is an ego that says, be small, be quiet, be good. Do for others and stay out of the way. This is where we get chronic people pleasing from, but we also then have this ego construct that fights and pushes against what is being asked of us through this ascension and awakening process. In this process, we are being asked to step into our truth fully, to speak our truth, to bring through the offerings that we came here to offer to the world. We came here to participate fully, to take up the space in the room, to speak, to engage, and to do so with a loving confidence. And when you have an ego that for your entire lifetime, whose job was to keep you safe, and it has kept you safe by keeping you quiet, keeping you small, keeping you hidden, keeping you cloaked, keeping you shy, keeping you away from any form of being seen or known in the world, it's a big ask. It is a big, big ask. And when and if you discover that that is something that is happening for you or to you, the only response that is appropriate, the only response that will work, is for you to love that aspect of your ego and step forward in baby steps anyway. I want to share a little bit about my experience, just to give this some solid context. I was one of those children who had an emotionally unavailable father and a mother that was very much a dictator, some narcissistic tendencies, some mental illness. She was my very, very best friend and my worst enemy, all rolled into one. So as a child, I understood that my job was to please everyone as best I could, and children are to be seen and not heard. I got that message very clearly. And to just be quiet and be small. So I lived my life that way up until my awakening, and my life fell apart when she passed away and my husband and I split up, and I found myself in a very, very messy place. As I went through my healing journey, ironically, part of my journey was that I ended up winning a modeling contest. I was Vogue Toronto, fresh face over 40 in 2015. which I now understand. I don't do it anymore, but now I understand that it helped me to be seen. I did some commercials, some print stuff, some various like internal videos and webinars and things like that. But it was all about pulling a natural confidence from inside of me gradually as I evolved and became the new person that I was becoming. So that was a part of my journey that never really made any sense to me, but I kind of just felt like it was something I needed to honor. So I did. And then most recently, in October of 2022, I did my first TikTok video, and I only got about 200 views and lovely comments. And I thought, yeah, this is manageable exposure. I can handle this. Until I did one video about being unplugged from the Matrix. And really the context of the video was just to reach out to other spiritual elders to let them know that the 18 to 35-year-olds were really struggling and that the new world is coming into place, but not quite fast enough. And we needed to just look out for this demographic. Well, wouldn't you know that video went out to 500,000 people. And I collapsed into my own body. As I watched the numbers grow, the panic that came through me was so incredibly strong. I nearly took the video down a few times. I must have watched it at least 20 times to reconfirm back to myself that what I had said in the video was something that I was going to stand behind as it reached higher and higher viewer values. And at one point, once the storm that was inside of me calmed down, I was able to tune into myself and what was that all about? It's TikTok. Who cares? The video was fine. What was that all about? And what I came to understand was that my journey thus far had been all about reversing the programs that I held within me that I thought were keeping me safe. That if I stayed in a manageable container, I was safe. That if I had only a small reach to the people that I was meant to work with, I would be safe. That through all the other forms of media, I had allowed myself to be seen, but I wasn't allowing myself to be big. I wasn't allowing the world to see me and know me fully for who I had become. And so all of that understanding and awareness sort of came through, and I was like, wow, now it all makes sense. Now I understand that what I am here to do and the lives that I am meant to be able to touch is going to require that I step into myself fully and allow myself to be fully seen, fully heard, and fully experienced by those that resonate with me. But it was my inner child who was panicking, my inner child that panicked about the video, and my inner child that has been panicking about how much more reach I'm having lately. And it was her that needed my love, my reassurance, and my acceptance that her story was very real and her experiences were very real. But it is not a prison that we have to live in forever. So, in unexpected ways, working with the dissolving of the ego will show up when you least expect it. It will show up when you think you're already healed, and it will send you into a tailspin if you are bumping up against how big and how purposeful and how magical you are here to become. I hope this gives you good context. I hope that it gives you some awareness. Give your inner child a big hug and step forward into your light anyway. Much love.